Well, here it is, beginning in November 2022, and COVID finally found me. I've been dodging it all these months. Been going out, involved with different events and whatnot, lots of handshaking and hugging, potluck dinners, and no COVID yet. This past Sunday, a little sore throat, and that's it. Only lasted about 36 hours, but of course I've got to be quarantined for 5 days, so it's the 5th day today, and I decided to build a little amplifier. I was intrigued by these little amplifiers. I saw them on the DIY forum, and I kind of looked them up, and I realized that they're incredibly inexpensive, about $35, $45 each, depending on which one you buy. And what they are is a little 50 watt per channel Class D amplifier and a 70 watt per channel Class D amplifier. They both use a Texas Instrument amplifier IC. The 70 watt one uses a TPA 3156D2, and the 50 watt per channel uses a TPA 3116D2. I bought both, and you buy them from Jerry's Electronics. He actually makes the circuit board, puts all the parts in a bag. You print out the instructions off his internet. He's quite a guy. I ordered 2 of them. You know, I paid the postage, and he sent me $4 back through PayPal. He said I paid too much because I ordered 2. He could ship them for the same price. Quite a guy, $4. So anyways, today I decided to build this little thing. It took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes. Couple of things. The instructions list the parts, but they don't really show you what they are, and there's a whole bunch of capacitors. On the capacitors is marked a number, and that number tells you where they go. You really need a really good magnifying glass or a Wild-Heiberg microscope to read these little numbers, but once you figure it out, it's pretty easy. Bunch of resistors, you just read the color bands. You don't have to be an electronics engineer to build this thing. You got to know how to solder, and there's some pretty tight soldering. So you want a sharp soldering iron, and you want really good solder, very thin solder. I bought this Lenovo soldering iron a while back when I was building other kits. I built a couple of tube amplifiers and preamplifier and a bunch of other stuff. And I'll tell you, that's the best thing I've ever done to my electronics shop, is buy that soldering iron. So anyways, you just kind of put this thing together. I made a little case for it, a piece of wood and some Lexan. Yeah, just to put it in something. I don't know, I don't think I'm going to make a top for it because it's got to breathe, although it doesn't get warm at all. To power it, you can power it anything from 5 to 26 volts. I'm using an old Dell computer laptop power supply, 19.5 volts. Works beautiful. I have it hooked up through my audio test center. I'm sorry, it's a little bit of a mess right now. This audio test center for the test amplifier, it's using an NAD C320BEE. Now this is supposed to be quite the integrated amplifier, and it does sound pretty good out here. But I'm going to tell you something. This little amplifier buries it. And I mean, not by a little bit. It's staggering how much better it sounds. I'm running it through a pair of Sony speakers because out here in my shop everything tends to get destroyed. So these Sony speakers are those, everybody's raving about them on the internet. I paid $88 for the pair. It's a 3-way loudspeaker, and they actually sounded okay with the NAD amplifier. They absolutely came alive with this little guy. It's actually scary. You know, you got I've got big amplifiers in the house. I've got a Pass Labs First Watt, and I've got a Dynaco clone ST120 60 watt per channel tube amplifier. I've got a 200 watt per channel Class D ICE module amplifier that I built last winter. I got all these different things and they all sound really good. They're all huge and they all weigh tons. And look at this thing. I mean, this thing is this, you know, the size of 2 packs of playing cards. And it just cranks. Supposedly 50 watts a channel. I haven't done any measurements on it yet, but believe me, it sounds like a lot more than that. I did try different voltages, just for the heck of it. I have a 0 to 30 volt power supply here, and I did take it right up to max. I couldn't hear any difference. In fact, I couldn't hear any difference from about 12 volts all the way up. Down under 12 volts, you start hearing a little bit of a difference, just, you know, basic volume, bass response. But I'll tell you, you put 20 volts into it or thereabouts, and the bass is amazing. Class D amplifiers evidently have been noted for having really tight, deep bass, and man, you should hear the bass on this thing in this garage. It's a big garage. It's 30 by 26 foot garage, and this thing just roars. If YouTube would let me, I'd play some music, but I don't know how to do that and not get banned and all that. So anyways, cool little amplifier, easy to build, $35. It's just so silly that it's $35 and it works so good. Had no issues with it. The minute I turned it on, it worked. It has 2 LEDs there, one that's just simple power, and that's why that one's lit. The other one is fault. Good thing if that doesn't come on. I got a lathe over here. I made a little knob for the volume control. I actually was going to lay this out like an amplifier. I was going to move the volume control, put it out front, and you know, and put the RCA jacks in the back and the speaker terminals in the back, and make like a little amplifier. Then I'm like, God, come on, it's $35. I'm going to use it downstairs in my hobby room to drive some C-Note speakers that I built from Parts Express. I think it's going to be a fabulous combination. I'm going to use a Wii W-I-I-M mini streamer into it. By the way, if you haven't played around with one of those Wii mini streamers, they're like $85. They are phenomenal. I mean, every bit as good as my Node 2i, and sometimes I think it's even a little better. Certainly when you play it through a good DAC. The onboard DAC's okay for a situation like this or a garage or whatever, but in a good system, you take that Wii Mini and you put it through a good DAC. In my office, I've got one going through a topping, I believe it's a Pro 3 Plus, I think that's what it is, into a little 12 watt per channel tube amplifier that I built into KEF 103.2s, old KEF 103.2s. And it's in a little 9 by 12 office. It's awesome, really cool. So the state of inexpensive hi-fi is here, folks. You can build or buy amazing performing electronics nowadays for like no money. It's awful fun too, trying to make really, really good audio equipment for no money. I mean, anybody can do it for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but try to do it for, you know, $200 or $300, including speakers. So anyways, that's the story. That's the KAA10021 50 watt ×2 Class D audio amplifier. Oh, by the way, these amplifiers can be bridged. If you build it, if you buy 2 of these modules and you bridge them, they will do 100 watts into 2 ohms in mono. Are you kidding me? Amazing. I think I might buy another one and make a set. Mono blocks. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Like I need 200, like I need 100 watts a channel in anything I listen to. So anyways, that's it from COVID Central. See ya.